Hello, 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 and welcome to Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus. You guys don't care because this is coming out on the same time as normal, but a special morning edition. Hunter and Peter and I are waking up bright and early in the morning. As I look at the clock, it is 4:45 a.m. We got up as fast as we could to get the show out to you guys because of the snow. Now it's 8 o'clock. But we're talking a little wrestling. We're talking a little basketball. We're powered by a little Fairway food stores. We are, you know what? We should have talked about this last week, Hunter, but perfect place to get all your Super Bowl supplies. Fairway food store.
Yes, it is.
You could have, I should have, if I would have remembered last week, I would have said you go get your cookies, your drinks. You know, I'm not a big, I don't drink a lot of Dr. Pepper much, but I bought a case of Dr. Pepper for the Super Bowl party. Perfect football drink. Connor's being funny in the off screen.
Yeah, he started just full on laughing. And I was like, oh, you're doing that like when I was talking.
Nice. What a guy. Future host of Southeast Iowa Union Sports Talk. Not Sports Talk, Prep Sports Plus, but we do talk sports on here. Hunter, while you and the baby have morning breakfast time, I'm going to talk a little girls wrestling because I was at Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa on Thursday and Friday for the annual, it's like the 6th annual, but as far as sanctioned girls wrestling, it was the 3rd annual Iowa High School Girls Athletic Union Girls Wrestling Girls Championship. And there were a lot of girls wrestling, and we had 14 of them, and one of them ended up standing at the top of the podium, and it's someone who is very comfortable at the top of that podium because it's our undefeated champion from Sigourney, Kyoto, Rana Utterback, who once again blew through the competition. Now she finishes her career 104-0, and somebody asked her if she'd ever not pinned somebody. She couldn't say officially, but she was like, "I'm pretty sure everyone is a pin." So, and I'll tell you what, eyewitness Andy Krutzinger saw those pins this weekend. Utterback first went through a matchup, a Prep Sports Plus clash with Gabby Gingrich of Mid Prairie, won by pin. Beat Macy Rasmussen of Audubon by pin. In the semifinals on Friday, defeated Ellie Weitz of Vinton Schellsburg by pin. And in the championship, it was 1 seed Rihanna Utterback versus 2 seed Erica Irvine from Don Bosco. Had the not plyometrics, that's when you're jumping on platforms. The pyrotechnics. Ooh, a rapper should rhyme plyometrics with pyrotechnics. Would be a great rhyme. Maybe I'll DM my buddies Kendrick or Snoop Dogg.
Kendrick could do it. Eminem could do it.
I'll do it. Yeah. I'll tell him. I'll be like, that'll be what my DM says. Just gonna say plyometrics, pyrotechnics. Anyway, all the pageantry. And it was all for a dominant match. Utterback had a takedown within like the blink of an eye, and the entire match was dominance. A pin in 3 minutes, 52 seconds. 55-0 this year, 104-0 overall. Remember, she chose to wrestle with the boys the first year. She could wrestle only girls her sophomore year. Otherwise, I'm guessing we'd be talking about 3 championships, but she
finished 8 too in the boys.
Yeah, she was on that podium. So pretty dominant. Not much to say because there were. I mean, what are you supposed to say? It was the basketball equivalent of the Harlem Globetrotters playing against Sheraton Middle School girls. No, she played some really good wrestlers, but it was there was no point in where you kind of like, it kind of reminded me of when New London's Marcel Lopez won 4 straight in New London. There was never a match in his entire run where I was like, oh, he might lose this. It was just instantly it seemed like the match was over when it started. So she's going to the Army. She's going to try and be part of that Army wrestling team, WCAP. I believe that the University of Iowa maybe wrestles against them sometimes. Yeah, I like our chances. If there's ever a international Army girls wrestling tournament.
Yeah, she might be the most dominant athlete we've ever covered, honestly. Like looking at it, like at least for wins wise, and
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I was thinking about that and just thinking it's so rare that there was zero doubt that in my mind, when you're watching her, you're like, she's going to win. There's like 100%. Like I would bet my house to get back a Subway sandwich because it's such a lock. But anyway, so that was great out of her. 2-time champion. She was not the only wrestler we had in the final night actually wrestling on the mats in the finals, which the finals do the first place match, the third place match, and the fifth place match. You could call it a Cinderella story of the weekend. We actually had a couple, honestly. I'll get to the other one here in a second, but this one was Fairfield Samantha Lyons, who came in as the 9 seed at 170. She didn't wrestle like a 9 seed. She wrestled like a legitimate threat to win the state championship, and she was after one day. Lyons ends up 4th at 170. She had a pinfall over Precious Credit. What a name. Love that name from Sioux Center in 30 seconds. I didn't even see her. I was waiting for Lyons because in the first round, all these matches just popping up everywhere. There's 8 mats. So we have so many kids there that I was taking pictures and looking this way. I was like, man, Lyons match should be showing up on the list here pretty soon. And I just completely missed her first match because it was so quick. I didn't even see her walk on or walk off of the mats. Then the upset of the weekend, Briar Blake of North Tama, a girl she has wrestled and has not beat. She said basically all of her training was to try and beat this girl. And she won 10-3 decision. It was one of the more intense matches because when the 1 seed is losing in an earlier round match, you kind of get that everyone's watching and you kind of feel people holding their breath. And I think it was maybe 4-3 or 5-3 at one point after an escape from Briar Blake, and you kind of held your breath. They're like, uh-oh, here we go. If this girl gets a takedown, she could steal this upset away. And before I could even think that, Lyons had another takedown, and that pretty much sealed it. So she won that 10-3, and then she ends up falling in the semifinals to Logan Magnolia Woodbine's Nancy Bowman, then winning her consolation semifinal against Mount Vernon's Gracie Pickney, which set her up for the third place match. Chance at third place. She did fall in this one to Lena DeMoss of Benton Community on a major decision, 10-0. But Fairfield's best ever girls wrestling finisher, the only one that has ended up on the podium so far, Hunter.
Yeah, I think she might be one of the wrestlers that there's been several, but she was kind of the ones that stood out the past couple of years. Like when girls wrestling got bigger and bigger, like you could tell that she had like the talent to go pretty far. And I feel like she's only gotten better as her careers went on. So not surprised that I guess I'm not surprised to see her finishing within the top 5 and be be good enough for a chance to get to the state title match. Just falling a bit short. So
she's the sophomore, so she has time to grow. I asked her,
which is crazy to think about. She wrestles like she's like she's an upperclassman. So
yeah, she does. She has just a good quickness and strength about her. Had a lot of matches and a lot of emotions. A lot of the girls that we cover and that we don't cover. I mean, I made the joke. I was like, man, it's so intense in here that there's more people crying than not crying, because if you win, you're crying, and if you lose, you're crying. So it's like it was. I don't know. I like the state wrestling for girls and boys both. It's just so chaotic. I'm an agent of chaos. I asked her afterwards what was the first thing that got her into wrestling, and she said when I realized that I stunk at basketball. We had 2 others in the championship matches. Ashley Ferrier of Mid Prairie. She was one of 3 Mid Prairie wrestlers. She was one of our returners from last year. She ended up getting 5th at 1:30. She almost did the exact same thing that Lyons did right before Lyons actually did it, because she ended up in a quarterfinal match with Cadence Bourne of Wilton, the number one seed who was undefeated going in, I believe. And Farrier had her beat. She had a lead on her, and then got pinned with 15 seconds left in the quarterfinals. So that was a tough one. She ended up picking up a couple pins in the consolation bracket. Falls in the consolation semifinal on a tiebreaker in overtime to Lenny Gusick of Alburnett. I hope there's no Alburnett fans watching this, because I definitely botched that one. But she ends up beating Jordan Buffum of Logan Magnolia Woodbine for 5th place, so she got to have a win on the mats in the final matches. And then our other one was a newbie, Pekin's Lexa Nelson, who had not gotten to state before. She's a junior, actually. And she was absolutely 1 inch away from being dead on arrival at the state tournament, because she was down like 8-0. She was down so much in a consolation final. So she won her first match, lost her second. And the third one against Valerie Torres of East Buchanan, there's still a lot of stuff going on. She was down like 8, and I was taking pictures, and I got distracted by our other matches. So I turned, I was like, oh, looks like the Pekin girl is going to get beat. And then I look back, and there's just like Pekin people going crazy. And I look at the scoreboard, and she's climbed back from this lead, and she ends up winning this one 15-13. And then her next consolation round, she won 11-8. So just 2 like wild high scoring matches. She falls in her next 2 matches to Serenity Turner of Knoxville and Emma Miller of Trainer, but that second one was in the 5th place match, so she got to wrestle on the big night as well. Wrestled for 5th, so she got 6th. She said she was like, I couldn't have even said something about like how she couldn't even have imagined all of the emotions that ended up going on with almost being out and with coming back. And so she was kind of she was the second Cinderella story I was talking about when we came to that final night. So that was cool that we had 4 girls wrestling. Sometimes you show up to the finals and you have to wait forever for one match, but I stayed plenty busy. We had other kids that picked up wins. So like for Pekin, Haley Pedrick had 1 win for Pekin. For Fairfield, Kendra Allison did have 1 win. Trying to go through Sigourney Kyoto, Kaya Montgomery had 1 win for them. None of these girls placed. Let's see. No, I think that might be it for girls who did get a win. A lot of our girls went like 1 and 2. Nobody else made the podium. So, yeah, wild weekend at state girls wrestling.
Yeah,
Shout out.
What's that?
I said, shout out to Coralville. Coralville does a great job.
Yeah, I do agree. They do a great job. I was just going to say, I mean, you kind of said it too, like, just shout out to all our girls wrestlers, because, we had a lot of good ones, and we expected we expected a handful, to compete for top 5 finishes. And I think we kind of saw that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Sorry, I got distracted by something totally random. But
were you laughing at Samantha walking by? I figured.
Yeah. Yeah, Samantha's got a 2-hour delay.
Yeah, she does.
My wife did as well. Anyway, a little more wrestling, just so everyone knows. We have the district tournament on this Saturday. Not one of our teams is anywhere close to local. I mean, Williamsburg is our closest. Hunter said something. I don't know if he was talking to his wife or me. Williamsburg is our closest thing. We've got Mid Prairie, Mount Pleasant, and Washington at Williamsburg. We have Fairfield's at Centerville. That's a ways away. We have a bunch of smaller school teams that are going all the way to Pleasantville. So I don't know. We also have basketball that day, so we're going to figure out who's going where and what we're doing. But rest assured, we'll have the results from all of those places. And the Southeast Iowa Union, by the way, check out the last 2 papers. If you're a wrestling fan, we had the girls wrestling stories on one day, and then we had picture overflow yesterday. So a bunch of pictures from a bunch of different places. So the Gazette helped us out, obviously, because they cover a couple of our teams. Shout out to Amelia Miller from Fairfield, one of their athletes that doesn't do anything during the winter. She was taking pictures for the state tournament for us. So we have a couple of her pictures in there. And yeah, I think it's time for that commercial. What do you think, Hunter? First commercial.
Go. I agree. And then we got a busy basketball section.
We have a lot to talk about because basketball, we've got scores, finals, brackets, not really predictions, but maybe what we're looking forward to. So stick with us on Prep Sports Plus. We'll be back.
Introducing Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every meal is a delight. Start your day with our mouthwatering breakfast options and savor flavorful lunches with friends and family. Cap off your day with our delectable dinners. Hy-Vee Market Grill, where every moment is delicious.
The Connie and Amanda team is dedicated to giving back to our community by actively engaging with our clients, businesses, and the public. When it comes to helping you find your next home, investment, or commercial space, the Connie and Amanda team is here for you.
Washington County Hospital and Clinics, providing quality health care that puts you first. Whether during a hospital stay, seeing a primary care provider for wellness exams or sick visits, minor surgery to a total joint replacement, or recovering from an injury, we're here when you need us.
More than you expect for your health care. Washington County Hospital and Clinics.
Hello, friends. I am Andy Kretzinger, this is Hunter Roller. We're going to talk about a little bit of basketball. We're talking hoops, folks.
It was a busy week.
Are talking hoops. It was a busy week. We're going to let Hunter go first because he was at the Southeast Iowa Super Conference Extravaganza Championship quadruple header. We had 3, so it was a triple header for us. Little girls, little boys. Coworker Ray just gave me this Bazooka Joe gum, which I will pop in as Hunter's talking. Hunter, take it away.
Yeah, as Andy said, I was at the Southeast Iowa Super Conference Shootout Finals on Saturday. We had 3 teams, 1 girls team, 2 boys teams. So as we kind of talked about last week, the way the finals work is, the top 2 seeds in the Super Conference North and South head to Southeastern Community College's Lauren Walker Arena. Kind of perfect venue for that type of thing because it brings, kind of basically 4 sets of fans together. And it's always like a good environment in there. But kicking off with the girls, we had Columbus, who was ended as the top seed in the North. They were taking on top seed in Mediapolis, top seed in the South. And this one was pretty one-sided. Mediapolis, obviously 20-1 on the season. I believe their only loss is against a team from Illinois. I believe, if I remember looking that up right. But the Bulldogs or Bullets. I think they go by Bullets.
They're the Bullets. Wapello and Mediapolis. They're not only look like the exact same town, but they also did the exact same thing where they still have the girls be a different name than the boys.
Yeah, I think I called them the Bulldog in the story, but I remember that I think they go by the Bullets. But this one ends 66-12 defeat for Columbus. South reigns supreme on the not on the girl side. Lone Tree did beat Danville in the second seed game pretty handily in that one. So a little split between the North and South there. Wasn't quite the same on the boys side. We'll get to that. Basically, the Mediapolis pressure was a difference maker all night long. And when Columbus was able to get in their offensive sets, particularly in the first half, they just weren't able to, get any offensive rhythm and see any shots fall really early on. But in the first quarter, Columbus was held without a point. Meanwhile, Mediapolis scores 27 straight, so it was 27-0 after the first. They were hot behind the arc. They hit 5 triples through the first 8 minutes. And then the scoring drought continued for Columbus into the second. They went in all over the first and second quarter. They went over 13 minutes without scoring. Through that span, Minneapolis built a 35-0 lead. Lily Coyle did break the spell in the second, but after that field goal, they finished with just one more field goal the rest of the way from Franny Sosa to kind of finish out the second half. So it was 42-4 at halftime, Minneapolis leading, and by that point, you can kind of tell the results kind of been decided. But Minneapolis only continued to add to its lead. An 11-0 run pushed the Bulldogs lead to 53-4 before the Wildcats scored all three of their third quarter points in a row. So heading into the fourth, Minneapolis led 59-7, and then they ended up taking the fourth as well, 7-5, to kind of put a cap on it. But Coyle led the way of Columbus, 5 points, Franny Sosa 4, Ariana Vergara 2. Columbus finished the game with a 12.2% field goal percentage, went 0 for 18 from 3, and then Minneapolis shot 52.3%, and I mentioned them being hot from outside, 56.2% from 3. So, those numbers are going to win you some games if you're putting up those as regard for Minneapolis. So, just a pretty tough loss for Columbus, but looking at Columbus, at least when you look at the Super Conference standings, you got to give kudos to Columbus because they were kind of a team that kind of rose out of the ashes, you might say, in that sense. Really struggled the past couple of years, and then all of a sudden this year bring back a lot of their starters, and they kind of showed out in the North Division this year. So got to give them kudos in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sorry there weren't a lot of barn burner right down to the wire games. Funny enough, a lot of the smaller games ended up that way.
Yeah,
the Super Conference, everyone plays everyone.
Yep. Jumping over into the boys. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You were going to comment on that.
No, I was going to say I was going to transition you into the boys. I kind of distracted you with my.
You're good.
Comment.
We'll jump over to the boys' side. We mentioned we had two teams. Waco is the 2 seed, and Hillcrest Academy is the 1 seed. We knew that going in to the boys' side of things, the South 2 teams have been ranked, are ranked. So we knew it was kind of going to be tough for the North Division. Waco put up a good fight against Notre Dame, who was the South's 2 seed. Ended up being a 65-52 finish, and it was pretty close down to the wire. Notre Dame jumped out to an early lead, a 6-0 lead and a 14-5 lead early, but the Warriors continued to battle. Closed the first period well, ended with an 8-2 run. That included a buzzer beater from Christian Stacy just inside the 3-point line. Great night for Stacy. It was kind of the Waco or the Warriors' main focal point of offense. But heading into the second, Notre Dame led 16-13. The Knights made it tough on the Warriors for the second quarter, though. Waco was held to just 9 points. Meanwhile, Notre Dame scores 22 to push their lead to 40-22. And Waco could really never get back into it. They did chip it down late. Pair of free throws with just 2.5 seconds left. I don't know if you heard Connor laughing, but Isaac Rich with 2.5 seconds left from the foul line made it a 16-point game heading into the final period. Warriors continued to kind of chip away, got it all the way down to a 12-point game at 58-46 with back-to-back buckets from Casey Coakley and Isaac Egley. However, time wasn't really on Waco's side at that point. There's just over 2 minutes to play there, and down the stretch, the Knights hit 5 free throws to kind of keep their lead and pull out the cross division clash there. But Christian Stacy, I said pretty nice game for him, 18 points in the loss. So another loss for our North Division side of things. But I think Waco showed some fight in this one. Obviously, they've been dealing with some injuries, probably. That's kind of hurt them in the rebounding game in particular.
Yeah, a lot of post injuries is the big thing.
Yeah, so but I would say valiant effort against a really tough Notre Dame team who is ranked in some of the polls out there. So that was the finish of the Southeast Iowa Super Conference number 2 seed battle there.
Yeah, there we go. I've seen Waco since the injury to Clayton Miller, which is a big one. They just got to figure out, and when it comes to tournament time, how to somehow make up for the lack of any sort of real size down low, which they do with their speed and stuff like that some of the time.
Yeah, they got quick guards, which just in the post is where I would say the biggest difference. Difference maker for them is if they're facing a big man, they have to kind of drop down and kind of collapse on them if the team's got a tough post player. But I wouldn't want to play Waco though.
Yeah, me neither.
But jumping into the late night game, battle of the number 1 seeds. Obviously, West Burlington State tournament team last year, and ranked in a lot of polls out there. In Class 2A, taking on Hillcrest Academy, and really, it was a great game out of the right off rip. But in the end, West Burlington firepower ended up being too much, and they really picked it up defensively. I mean, in the second half, their defense was just kind of a difference maker as well. But it ended up being a 76-42 final. This one, if you would have watched the first 12 minutes of the game, you would have been like, wow, I'm surprised that. Like if you would have left after the first 12 minutes, you'd been like, wow, I can't believe it ended that way. But mentioned Hillcrest Academy brought it right out of the gate. Ravens took an early 2-0 lead with buckets from Kale Bailey, Rowan Miller, and Mason Bender. Made an 8-4 lead for Hillcrest Academy. The two squads tied twice the rest of the first period until the Falcons, Mason Watkins, really got going late in that first quarter and really the rest of the night. Buried a 3 at the buzzer to give West Burlington a 16-13 lead after the first period. Mentioned Watkins being pretty much a thorn in Hillcrest's side the rest of the night. He ended it with 41 points in this one. So usually if you got a guy scoring 41, it's a pretty good shot you want.
That's a pretty good sign usually.
But you mentioned it being a good game, and out of the second, the Ravens matched the first quarter energy. A pair of threes from Seth Hours following a jumper from Miller put the Ravens up 23-19. But then after that point, things begin to shift. As I mentioned, the Falcons defense was kind of a standout point there. And then obviously I mentioned Watkins' offensive prowess there. But from that point on, the Ravens scored just once more the rest of the quarter. Meanwhile, the Falcons got 10 straight points from Watkins, which sparked a 19-2 run to the end of the first half. So West Burlington scored the final 14 points of the second quarter. And just like that, the Ravens, who did have a 1-point lead at 25-24 at the midway point of that frame, were now down 38-25. And as I mentioned, the rest of the way, it was pretty much all West Burlington. The Ravens were held to just 17 points in the second half. And meanwhile, West Burlington matched the first half total, scoring another 38. So, I would say, Hillcrest Academy obviously had some battles throughout the North Conference this season. Obviously, I saw Wake. Their only loss on the season was still against Waco, I believe, and I was at that one.
Yeah.
And valiant effort against a really solid West Burlington team. I was telling people this at the game. I said, the thing about Hillcrest Academy is they're very well coached with Gingrich. Obviously, I believe he's now like the 4th winningest coach in Iowa State history. And they're well coached, and I feel like they don't make too many mistakes, which is kind of the biggest thing about them that I notice. And they run a lot of different sets, which I think kind of confuses players a lot. But
probably, yeah. Well, I mean, that's going to be hopefully a good omen when it comes into tournament time now. And you're going to go through those brackets. Before we do that, though, I just wanted to run through our conference standings.
Wait, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna let me run through the shootout scoreboard real quick. I forgot.
Oh yeah. Throughout.
So just real quick, the rest of the games throughout the rest of the shootout, which the pairs up with the 8 versus 8, 7 versus 7, and so on and so on. But Winfield Mount Union taking on Mediapolis, 45-36 Winfield win. This is the boys' games first. Van Buren County 80-54 over Columbus. I was at that one. Notre Dame, as I mentioned, 65-52 over Waco. West Burlington 76-42 over Hillcrest. Holy Trinity Catholic 76-45 over Pekin. Wapello 64-36 over New London. I was at that one too, up in Columbus. Danville 61-41 over Lone Tree on the girls' side. Waco 52-45 over Central Lee. Van Buren County 59-54 over Hillcrest. Wapello 40-38 over New London. Mediapolis 66-12 over Columbus. Obviously, already talked about that. West Burlington 41-27 over Pekin. Holy Trinity 54-46 over Highland. Louisa Muscatine 48. Notre Dame 38. So sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted to run through those the rest of those Super Conference scores there.
I love it. I was going to say, so conference standings wise for the small schools, we have Hillcrest and Waco did end up 14-2 apiece at the top of the South. In the boys and the girls, Columbus, I believe we talked about a big one for them last week. They end up winning the girls alone. And then Keota, of course, won the South Iowa Cedar East with got 2 games over Sigourney. Mid-Prairie was second in both the girls and boys River Valley South standings. We didn't have anybody in the Super South that did great in the standings. And then we'll run through. So the big schools are kind of going towards the end. And the boys are still in between Keokuk and Fort Madison. We've got one more round of games tomorrow night. But Fairfield will end up either in 3rd or 4th, depending on how they do against Burlington tomorrow night. Washington. So Washington will be in 3rd or 4th. Fairfield can also jump into a tie for 4th. Right now they're 5th, and Mount Pleasant is 6th, locked in for the boys. And on the girls, Washington, Fairfield, and Mount Pleasant are 4th, 5th, and 6th, respectively. I was at Washington 2 nights ago to watch the Burlington Greyhounds beat Washington 48-28. Washington was without Adeline Long, so that was their leading scorer. They believe that she should be here or I think she said something about maybe being there on Saturday when they start their tournament action. But Burlington wins their first ever girls conference title. So congratulations to the Burlington girls. They have risen from a couple of wins to a huge season. So Greyhound girls are champions. And then Hunter, you have the brackets. Let's just, you know what? We've looked in the past so much. Yep. Sometimes I feel like we live in the past. Let's live in the present and the future with the brackets coming up here.
Well, before I do that real quick, I'm just gonna mention the scores of the Mount Pleasant Fairfield games from the past couple of days here. But Mount Pleasant boys and girls are in action on Monday night and Tuesday night. The Panther boys fell to Ottumwa 58-42 at home, actually at former Iowa Wesleyan campus, Central. What do they call it? Central Campus. Central Campus.
I was unofficially, I kind of bullied my way into saying that I was just going to name it for them and put it in the newspaper. Nobody really told me no exactly, so I think I'm just going to come up with a name someday, and then that'll be what it's called.
Yeah, so they fell to what's that?
The Thunderdome.
Thunderdome, I like that.
I gotta think something with Panthers. I'll think of something with Panthers. Yeah.
But 58-42, the boys lost at home, and then the girls fell 49-14 on the road. As I mentioned, both teams played West Burlington the next night. Girls fell on that one 42-34. The boys in another pretty good game, 76-65. And then Fairfield basketball in action on Tuesday night. The girls and boys both. The boys taking on Mid-Prairie ended up being another good game I saw. Ended up being 68-59 win, though, for Mid-Prairie. And the girls fell to Knoxville at home 60-29. So just to get the scores out of the way, now we can jump into some Class 1A, 2A boys basketball postseason pairings. A lot of interesting matchups here, as we kind of talked about before the show. But in Class 2A, Mid-Prairie represents the Union as the highest seed. The Golden Hawks are a 2 seed in Sub-State District 9, which features West Burlington as the number 1 seed, Mediapolis is 3, Central Lee 4, Louisa Muscatine 5, and Cardinal 6. The Golden Hawks will play the winner of Mediapolis and Cardinal in their first game in the postseason. Van Buren County is the other 2A squad. The Warriors are a 5 seed in Sub-State 5, District 10. That grouping features Grandview Christian as the top seed, Davis County's 2, Pella Christian 3, PCM 4, Eddyville Blakesburg 6. Van Buren County will play PCM in round 1 with Grandview Christian awaiting the winner of that one. Down in Class 1A, Sub-State 4, District 8 features a majority of our area teams. Waco is the 2 seed, followed by Winfield Mount Union as the 4, Pekin is the 5, Columbus as the 7, and New London as the 9. Notre Dame is the top seed with Holy Trinity as the 2, Danville is the 6, and Wapello is the 8, rounding out that list in that sub-state there. New London will play Wapello with Notre Dame waiting. Winfield Mount Union gets Pekin. Columbus takes on Holy Trinity, and Waco will take on Danville in the first or in the opening rounds there. But in
rematch of the sub-state final a couple years ago.
Yep.
Waco Danville, one of our best games, like
Right.
triple overtime. Go ahead.
Yeah. In the sub-state District 9, Hillcrest Academy is the 2 seed, Kyoto 3, and Highland 9. Those teams all represent there. North Lynn is the top seed, Springville 4, Cedar Valley Christian 5, Lone Tree 6, Central City 7, and Rivermont Collegiate 8. Rounding out the rest of that list. Highland will play Rivermont in the first round. North Lynn waits the winner of that one. Hillcrest Academy plays Central City, and Kyoto will take on Lone Tree in the rest of those opening rounds. So postseason play for the boys begins on February 14th, obviously tomorrow, with the preliminary rounds. So, that's the games that's the teams that are, it's almost like a play-in kind of thing. Second round games are slated for Thursday, February 20th, with district finals on February 25th. Sub-state finals for both of these classes are Saturday, March 1st. And then just reiterate, the state tournament is March 10th through the 14th at Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines. And then on the girls' side of things, jumping here in Class 1A Region 7, most of our 1A teams are in here. Kyoto and Winfield Mount Union will play. These are tonight. Kyoto Winfield will be playing for a chance to play top-seeded Springville. Highland plays Wapello, and Hillcrest Academy takes on New London. The winner of those 2 games will play each other there. Waco takes on Notre Dame for a chance against Sigourney in the next round. Lone Tree, Cedar Valley Christian, Holy Trinity Catholic, and Moulton Udell will play each other for a chance to move on in that side of the bracket. In Class 2A, there's a couple of our teams in 2 brackets. Pekin and Cardinal will play in round 1 for a chance to take on number 1 overall Eddyville Blakesburg in the second round. Van Buren County will take on Pleasantville in their first round. Let's jump into, let's see, where is it at? Oh, and then Class 2A Region 2, Columbus is in this one. Columbus will await the winner of West Burlington and West Branch for their first round matchup, or their first game of the postseason there. And then you have the 3A postseason brackets, don't you? Do you want to run through that? I don't know if you have those pulled up, or you want me to just say.
I can go ahead and pull them up. I'm pretty confident that I could.
Because I have Class 3A Region 1, which is Washington's in and here, but
yeah, I'll tell you what. Washington's in Region 1 against Mediapolis. I already know that. That's on. That is on. Hold on here. That is on Saturday. Now I'm colorblind. That's the Washington and Mediapolis are like the exact same color, correct? So maybe a home court advantage for Washington being in an orange and black gym. What is this? Is it supposed to snow more today? Oh my goodness. Anyway, maybe that's on Saturday. So that is part of the Class 3A Region 1, and then the winner of that would play against West Liberty or Benton at Mediapolis, no matter what. So if Washington wins, we don't have to drive to West Liberty or Benton. Am I reading that correctly? Mr. Varsity Bound, that's the way you make it seem. They'll probably change that if Washington wins. Anyway, that's on Saturday. Pretty confident that will be our game that we're going to on Saturday, because one of us will be at wrestling probably. And then in another Class 3A region, because Washington got split up with Fairfield and Med Prairie. We got Fairfield at Williamsburg. Williamsburg's ranked number 3. Very tough game. By the way, if anyone's just sitting around in Williamsburg on Saturday, you could watch a lot of our wrestlers, then you could watch a girls' basketball game that involves us. That's like the 5th year in a row. I think we've had somebody play at Williamsburg after the wrestling gets cleared out. And then Mid Prairie will be playing against Central Lee. That could be a good one. That one's at Mid Prairie. Ooh, hi, Connor. And the 2 winners of that game will go against each other in the next round. And then in 4A, the Mount Pleasant Panthers will be at Keokuk High School, where they'll be taking on the Chiefs. So there we go. And the winner of that gets the task of going to Ashton Kutcherland, Clear Creek, Amana. Still mad at them for not having a full concession stand when they hosted the game. I'm pretty sure against Mount Pleasant a few years ago. So anybody who's wanted to eat at the game, I don't know. They were nice people at the concession stand, but I was like, oh, you guys aren't doing like a concession stand today? It's like the postseason of basketball. Like, you guys got to host this? They're like, nah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to hold this grudge forever. And when I have a sports show one day, I'm going to slander you guys and not even worry about the repercussions of your reputation getting taken a hit. Anyway, I think that's all we got to talk about basketball-wise. We will be... Oh, by the way, the big school basketball 3A should be coming out here in a couple days. We will be back. And Hunter will... you know what? We'll revisit our Super Bowl predictions and see who was right and all that other stuff. And, yeah, we'll be back.
Attention Hy-Vee shoppers, introducing Hy-Vee Perks, your ticket to exclusive savings and rewards. Access exclusive perks, prices, earn gas discounts, and unlock special deals. All this for free. Join Hy-Vee Perks today and start saving.
At Seafirst Credit Union, we're all about making connections, like how we connect you with a flexible financing you need to install that all-season room or remodel your kitchen with a home equity line of credit. Connect with Seafirst today and see why together is better.
Bring the kids, share the memories, celebrate 75 years of traditions at the Midwest Old Threshers Reunion. Relive the magic of steam engines, antique cars, and trucks, tractors, gas engines, and horses. Whether it's your first visit or a cherished tradition, you'll enjoy the delicious foods, the thrill of an Old West shootout, and the excitement of nightly grandstand entertainment. For 75 years, this has been the place where memories are made at the 2025 Midwest Old Threshers Reunion, August 28th through September 1st in Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Visit oldthreshers.com for more details.
In the heart of rural Iowa, where community matters most, the connections we make are made to last. Meet KCTC, your hometown internet, phone, and TV provider. At KCTC, we're not just about technology, we're about people. Our dedicated team are your neighbors, committed to bringing you top-tier services right where you live. We believe in giving back to the community that raised us. Experience the power of a real connection with KCTC. Join us in building a stronger, more connected Southeast Iowa.
Southeast Iowa Union Prep Sports Plus, powered by Fairway. We're talking bowling and a little Super Bowl football. But first, let me roll through these bowling results. Southeast Conference Bowling Championship on Monday at Flamingo Lanes in Fairfield. And it's very hard to bowl when those flamingos are running across the lanes, Hunter. But some of our kids had some pretty good scores anyway. Team standings-wise, we had a couple second-place finishers. On the boys' side, the Fairfield Trojans got second at their own home conference meet. Burlington won 28-07. Fairfield 26-15 for second. Keokuk third. Mount Pleasant fourth. Washington fifth. The boys' all-conference Delios. Ethan Cass of Fairfield rolled a 400 for third. Burlington had the top two. Mount Pleasant's Henry Scott fourth. He's on the 12 bowler all-SEC list. Ian Applera of Fairfield sixth. Washington's Mitchell Zaglavsky and Kelton Burke 9th and 11th. And Fairfield's Blake Ballou got the last comer spot, barely beat out Joseph Reinschmidt of Mount Pleasant for that last spot. Three pins. So that's on the boys' side. And then on the girls' side, Keokuk wins this one running away 27-52, but the Mount Pleasant Panthers, 21-35 for second, beat Fairfield by just 43 pins. Fairfield 2,093 for third. It's kind of fun to see which team scored a future year like 2093 and which ones were the past years. This is the past year, 1682. What happened then? What happened on Friday was Burlington scored 1682. By Friday, I mean Monday. And then Washington 909. Washington does not have a full roster, so their total is a little wonky. Obviously, you have to be punished for not having the full varsity lineup, but sometimes you look at their score, like the 909, what happened here? Well, they just didn't have that many bowlers. And on the girls' side, as far as individuals, Keokuk got the top 5 and 5 of the top 6, so there weren't a lot of spots left. But Emma Cass for Fairfield, little brother-sister all-conference combo there with her and Ethan, she rolled a 345. She got 6th. Fairfield's Grace Forrest was in 8th with a 320. And then Mount Pleasant had 3 in the top 12. Bethany Drury with a 320, Cheyenne Smith with a 300, and Joanna Fortin with a 286, 9th, 11th, and 12th for those 3 bowlers. And that's what we got for bowling. We got districts coming up. But Hunter, one thing we have to address, I haven't been very good on predictions on this show. Haven't been winning the college basketball brackets. I'm usually the worst of you, me, and whatever producer we currently have. And I'm sorry to say, for all the Chiefs faithful watching, the Swifties, the Kelsey brothers, but I was unfortunately correct in my prediction of the Philadelphia Eagles. Not really close on the score. Hunter and Peter took.
I was close on the score.
Took a loss. You were close on the score. The wrong score.
I think I said 30. I think I said 35, 31 or something. So
your total was pretty nice.
I was close on the Eagles score.
You were. The Eagles won by a lot. Cooper DeJean almost fulfilled my destiny of Super Bowl.
Cooper DeJean should have been MVP.
He should have been. I knew he wasn't going to be, but he was. I almost bet on him to be Super Bowl MVP, and I would have been unreal excited at the time of that pick 6 if that's what happened. But there are a couple times he looked like he was close to maybe poking the ball out or doing something like that. I was really hoping he'd fluke into another takeaway and that it would stay kind of low scoring because then he could have got it. But whatever. Jalen Hurts, just the absolute best Jalen Hurts of your team gets you all the way down to the 1-yard line, then you take all the glory. Stat padding when the game's over. Not bitter, but anyway. Congratulations to all our Philadelphia Eagles fans. I know there's tons of them in Iowa. Everyone loves those Eagles. My daughter is kind of an Eagles fan because the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, she was born the next morning.
Oh, man. Nick Foles?
So, yeah, Nick Foles. Yeah, she was a girl, so I didn't call her Nick, but we thought about changing it. Well, I thought about being like, this should be like Nicole now, maybe, because he was so good.
Because he's a legend. Took down Tom Brady with the Philly special.
Exactly. No problem. So I guess I'll just, as Hunter goes and does his family duties, I will just say that's the end of football season, and I'm sad. I love going to these basketball games, the spring sports, all that stuff. But at my heart, when the last football game is played, I was driving home from the Super Bowl party, just sad and depressed that there's no more football until fall. Except the XFL, whatever you call it now, which is just an absolute sham. Nothing like the old XFL. It's like it's the beta version of what was the alpha of the 2001 XFL.
Yeah,
I don't even know what they call it now. They're the ones who came up with the kickoff rules that they use now.
Yep.
You can't hit anybody anymore. And
I want to see somebody get blown up.
Me too. No more fair catches. Remember? And you weren't even born in 2001, were you? No, you were.
Yeah, I was.
You were like 4?
1997, so yeah.
I I've complained about this before on the show, but Jesse Ventura did like the commercials, and he was like right into the camera like this, and he's like, "No fair catch, no excessive celebration penalties. You can do what you want. Blow your head off." And now it's like if
you touch somebody the wrong way, it's like Jesus.
Yeah. Who's the girl? Who's the girl from all the chick movies that I never actually watched, but everyone loves her? She's in Devil Wears Prada. She's a little older now, but she's like a legend to all the. Say again?
Anne Hathaway?
No, not Anne Hathaway. She's awesome. I'm talking about the one that's a little older. Meryl Streep. Yeah, Meryl Streep. Right, coming in with the assist. This XFL is like if Meryl Streep came up with the rules. That's what I think of you, The Rock, who's like the head poncho. Like you're basically the Meryl Streep of football right now with these. Anyway, I can't go off on that, but Anne Hathaway, she's a legend.
She is a legend.
Batten down the hatches, Mr. Wayne.
Making another Princess Diaries 3, I think.
Another Princess Diaries 3.
Isn't she in that? Isn't that what she was in?
She was. My shout out to my cousin Audrey, who just became a mom. That was her favorite movie growing up.
I think I saw like that on like Disney or something there. I don't remember where I saw it, but I was like, that's funny.
You know what? Shout out Anne Hathaway. We appreciate you. We know that if you were in charge of the XFL, it'd be cool. Batten down.
Yeah, she'd do it right. She'd do it right.
Yep. Big time fan. We're gonna let everyone go now. Happy weekend, happy Thursday. Please don't fall in the snow like I did earlier.
I almost slipped walking out of my house. I said, I should have got the shovel yesterday, but I didn't want to go out in the cold.
Yeah, it snowed into the night. It wasn't supposed to snow that long. Anyway,
no, it picked up it got even heavier in the afternoon.
Yeah, so I don't want to be that. I don't want to end it on a negative. So positive thoughts.
Oh wait, I got a question for you before we leave.
Oh,
this happened, and I don't know. It didn't happen. We didn't talk. I think it happened right after our show last week. Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis.
Oh yeah. He hasn't been
biggest, most out of nowhere trade in sports history.
Yep, I woke up because I fall asleep in random rooms in the house about somewhere between 9 o'clock and 11:30 p.m. every single day. I think I woke up in one of my children's rooms and I stumbled into my own bed at like 3 a.m. and I got all these messages that are like, "What's up with this trade? Trade." And I looked, couldn't believe it. He hasn't been performing super great, I don't think, so far, but he's Luka. He's the. They're like, oh, he's like 400 pounds. It's like, dude, I watched him play basketball just a few days ago.
He looks exactly the same as he did basically last year, and they made the final.
I mean, maybe I should bet. You know what? I've been a LeBron hater since day one. Maybe I should bet on the Lakers and just.
He played like limited minutes like 2 nights ago and had like 14, 5, and 6 or something like that. So I mean, I don't know how he did last night, but.
I mean, they'll turn it on in the postseason. I think they're
AD. AD went to the Mavs and was going absolutely nuts in that first game. Then got injured. Now he's out like a couple weeks.
Yeah, he'll play like 3 games all year. So I'm still mad at him for costing me money. Not sure if you know from all my complaining, but the best.
By the way, did you see the Mavs? Ever since Mark Cuban left or gave up his share of the franchise, you see the Mavs like. They're like escorting people out because they're saying like fire Nico, whatever their GM is.
Yeah, my conspiracy, and so people are saying that Mark Cuban maybe lost a bunch of money on crypto or something, and that's why he had to sell the I don't want to say that and have Mark Cuban watch the show and come after me legally. Oh wait, you probably can't afford your lawyers because you're broke now, bum boy.
I'm gonna be honest. I missed what you said because I had to go fix my kid.
I was saying Mark Cuban lost all his money on crypto and had to sell the Mavs.
Is that actually why it happened?
That's what people say on the internet. So that's not what I'm saying. I was just quoting what I saw on that stuff about you're broke now, bum boy. I was directly quoting that from the internet. That wasn't my own. So anyway, we should let everyone go because I think Peter's got a big commercials to do here in about 10 minutes. So.
Yeah. All right, boys.
We'll see you on the courts. And we'll see you in court, Mark Cuban, you broke bum.
KCTC.com.